Yo guys, what's going on? I can't fucking believe I'm making this video. It's the kind of video I never wanted to make for the channel, but what the fuck is going on?
But what was clear is that police were completely unable to control it. We have seen a significant amount of looting.
So yeah, basically, I want to start this video by paying respect to George Floyd and apologising, I guess, to his daughter, his family, his friends, to everybody who's suffering at this moment in time, because it's a tough time, horrific time that anybody should lose their loved one to any reason that isn't a natural cause, that isn't a fair cause. But what I do want to say is it wasn't racism, and this whole cycle of every 4 years of this kind of thing happening right around the US election cycle, it gets so tiring.
That is correct, and they matter much, 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 much more, and I said that in my opening, and I will say it again. You know that white supremacy and white nationalism ranks nowhere near the top of the issues that are facing Black America. And the reason that you are bringing them up in this room is because it is an attempt to make the election all about race.
Because I think everyone tries their best. I think everyone tries their best to live their life as normal and as passive and as good and as, decently as they can. We've just come out of a global pandemic where the world needs to be healing, getting together, unifying, making everything better. And now we're here, looking at race riots over something that wasn't racist. It was very, very bad policing. And unfortunately, an innocent man died. But I thought we'll take a look, see how it's been covered worldwide, have a look at some of the stupid stuff that's going on, maybe see if we can find some equilibrium in all this and some neutral ground where everybody can meet and shake hands and walk away from it, because I keep getting messages about institutional racism and all this stuff, and I don't see it. I just sadly don't. I have this conversation with many people, and many people are business owners, for example, like white business owners, and I ask them, like, if I come to you with an idea that's worth 170k for 1 year, and then a black guy comes up to you and offers you this, another idea for the same amount of work for 250k, you're gonna take that 250k. And I've asked my own family these questions, and they've said, yes, I'm going to. Instead of taking that's only gonna make them 170k. I don't think this whole world's that unequal, and I honestly, I can't see it. If I could, I'd be barking on the other side of the fence, and I'd be shouting from high heaven from there, but I can't see it. But let's have a little look to see the way that the news has covered all this. I'm not going to go into the whole it's bias. I tried to take a few videos from like different news corporations. I tried to take one from like Australian broadcasting, just because I'm not Australian. It's not set in America. It has no bias. I thought it's no bias to me. It's no bias to over there. I got another one from CBS, which I think is kind of like, if I'm wrong, please let me know. I think it's kind of like free. Isn't CBS free? If I'm wrong, then I'm sorry if I'm wrong. I've tried to get it from like the free public station in America, and I've also tried to get something from The Guardian, which I found rather shocking, if I'm honest with you. Yeah, the first clip we're going to start with actually shows the officer. It's a news clip and it shows the officer. I'm not going to show the death of George, just because I don't feel I need to. If you feel the need to see it, which I hope you will. But if you do feel the need to go and see it, then it is out there and it is obviously YouTubeable. I'll leave the links to the 3 videos I'm going to check out in the description below. But be warned that one of them does start with it. And also, being an MMA fan, you can tell it's too long. It's definitely a murder case. There's no argument in that. It's too long. I've seen people be choked and submitted in mixed martial arts, and you know when somebody's on that level of just being conscious to just not being conscious. You just know it. So let's jump in and have a look and see how it's all being reported.
Explain why the charges came today.
We have the officer's body worn camera. We have statements from some witnesses. We have a preliminary report from the medical examiner.
So I'm making this video on the 1st of June. This happened on the 25th, which I keep seeing twisted. I keep seeing that twisted as like the middle of last month. But bearing in mind it's 7 days ago. Murder trials take a little bit longer to proceed. If I'm wrong in that, I'm totally wrong in that. I'm not a cop, I don't know. But as far as I'm aware, murder trials take a little bit longer.
According to the
to be investigated, to be
a
looked at, to be, all of those things that come with it.
call of Floyd using a counterfeit $20 bill. During the attempt to put a handcuffed Floyd into the police car, the defendant pulled Mr. Floyd out of the passenger side of the squad car, held him with a knee to the neck.
So they arrested him on suspicion of using a fake $20 bill, put him in the squad car, then seemed to drag him back out. Which in itself is a shit-face act. It's a shit-face act. It's bad policing. Once he's in that squad car, keep him in there.
Should we roll him on his side? Chauvin replied, no, staying put where we got him.
So I think that was one of the other officers who then said to Detective Chauvin, let's roll him on his side, he's not looking too good. And he said, no, we're staying where we are.
Mr. Floyd being restrained by the police, his underlying health conditions, and any potential
underlying health conditions are a tough one to judge, because how are you to know that on the spot when you're arresting someone? It's not quite a given like that.
Mexicans in his system likely contributed to his death. But the prosecutor says the preliminary...
Again, I want to skip on from the actual scene of it. I'm not getting around. I don't. Second, third degree murder. I'm, whichever one the prosecution go for, I'm behind it. Just don't think it's racism. Again, I just don't.
Floyd's family.
They were very clear in their position that it should be first-degree murder charges, and the other officers should be arrested too.
Now, if there wasn't, like I said, if there wasn't any kind of officer who could have stopped him, who could have kneed him off, physically stopped him, kind of like a referee in an MMA match, to say, look, you're killing this man, that should have been done. It's not a duty of anyone in the public to do that. It's just not anyone in the public, but another officer should have took responsibility. So I agree with that, man.
Precinct police building where the 4 fired officers worked was at.
Now this is ridiculous. Now this is where to me it becomes a mistake to purposeful crime. Purposeful crime.
The center of the anger. After police abandoned the building, protesters set it on fire.
Police have to abandon the building. In the meantime, while this is happening and police are scattering, there are women and children out there being hurt. There are car crashes happening. There are people having heart attacks. There are, do you know what I mean? And all these people want to do is burn shit down. It's not progressive. It's not productive. It's just animalistic.
Fire. The city warned people to retreat in case it exploded. At dawn, National Guardsmen rolled in to clear
I don't blame them.
the crowds.
Leave this area immediately.
State police are here. You can see them behind me holding down this block. But behind them are the firefighters doing the hard work.
Again, as I just said, there could be people out there in grave danger.
Right now, they are dousing the flames, trying to save the rest of these businesses from going up in smoke. The situation was so tense, a CNN reporter was arrested.
It is about time they shut down fake fucking news though, and CNN. That's fair. I think that's fair. I think there should be something written into law where you can arrest all CNN reporters.
While reporting live. He was released shortly after. Thursday, we went to KB Bala's restaurant. Looters had broken windows and even tried to steal.
This is heartbreaking. This poor man. This is what George Floyd wouldn't want. Is this kind of thing. I'm sure of it.
Today he watched as his life-saving.
If he's a decent bloke, George Floyd would never have wanted this to happen to this man.
Literally went up in smoke.
The time and energy I put into it, that's where it hurts a lot.
That's
So sad.
that was the dream.
Oh, definitely.
And now,
It's up in flames.
Minnesota's governor says
It's his own people. It's his own friends, his own community that's burnt down his store.
the state has seen 48 hours of anarchy. He hopes some of that pain will ease today.
What the world has witnessed since the killing of George Floyd on Monday has been a visceral pain, a community trying to understand who we are.
Bless him. It's so sad. It really is so sad. You know, as I said at the very start of this, like, bless George Floyd. This doesn't deserve to happen to anybody. It just doesn't. Whether you're white, black, Chinese, wherever you're from, nobody deserves to have their dad taken away. So, but what I also wanted to look at was this lady. This lady here. Sorry, was this lady. She's from American News. She's from Australia News, and Jesus, they get into some good places. And I said, they're quite neutral. They're not on either side of it, but she's right at the front line. So I thought we'd jump in, take a look at what's going on here. I'll actually full screen this.
Another flashbang there, Amelia. Amelia, if you can hear me.
And at some point in this as well, the police... This is a block away from the White House currently. You might hear her say this. But there's something... It looks like around 100, 200 protesters. Of course, it's America, so the police are armed, which is crazy.
Do you think that it's getting more tense than that?
There's two really distinct elements. There's a lovely undercurrent of peaceful protesters here who want to talk about their story.
See, that's the craziest thing of what's going on. Of course, there is that element of peacefulness. There is that element of people wanting to peacefully and calmly have their say. But 7 days after, it's just kind of 7 days after, middle of a massive pandemic. It's just, could we not wait and see? Could they not wait and see? I don't know why I'm classing we in this. I'm sure any going against this whole thing being racism, you get ostracized. So yeah, I discount the we from that.
Growing up as black people in this country, systemic racism which needs to change, and those are powerful.
Rum and
messages.
coke, always good for the soul.
Unfortunately, Mark, they're getting drowned out by what you are seeing right now, and those are the
So the guns that the police have there are beanbag guns. It starts to kick off more. The rioters / protesters, they actually fire the first smoke bomb / flashbang into the crowd, and then the police respond. Let's see if I can find that quickly. The first one to go off is actually, in the whole of this, goes from the rioters to the police.
Yes, sorry, we will do. Absolutely, thank you, sir. Mark, they're firing at the protesters, so
Oh, flashbang that.
Okay, flashbang. And another one. What's happening is the protesters started hurling projectiles at officers.
See, the problem with it is they say protesters, but like when you've got to board up the windows, it's not really protesting. It becomes mob mentality. It becomes mob rule.
We're backing up. It really escalated. And so
Now the police move them on and get them down the street. Yeah, at this point they actually move them a block on, so they're different in. They're sort of squared off at an intersection now. They're 3 blocks away. They started a block away from the White House. Now they're 3 blocks. The police have moved the protesters / rioters 3 blocks away.
to my left.
From the White House, this is.
Someone's down. He needs medical attention.
I will give them their props to the protesters / rioters. It's ballsy. It is a hell of a ballsy, isn't it? Like, it's a ballsy ass move to be protesting, to be rioting, to be protesting, all of those things. You know what I mean? With cops with guns, tear gas, and flashbangs. It's brave.
Okay, so Mark, the police are now asking us all to stand.
Yeah, sadly, this is one guy who seems to have been hurt in it.
It's been quite badly hurt. Okay. Was he hit?
As I said, the very first shot was fired from a protester. I'll try and put it into somewhere within the video to prove that off, because I've missed it in the video and I don't want this to be an hour video. The president blames it on left-wing extremists. By that I think he does mean Antifa. And I think that's where people who I've spoken to are blaming the violence and the crime and the hate vitriol and the dislike towards the cops and the rioting and looting's coming from left-wing extremists. But it's a tough one. It's kind of a tough one. You know, how do you separate it? This is why maybe if the dust had settled 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, organise a protest, go out, protest about it normally. As we're doing it like this, while the hate is hot and everybody's got feelings on it, it allows people who have ulterior motives and motives that aren't fair, that have ulterior motives, to jump on, get involved and kind of just, you know, muff the whole thing up. And actually spoil what could be a prevalent, peaceful protest.
But Bullet, what was he hit with? Does anyone know what he was hit with? Okay, there we go. There you go, Mark. So the protester that you're seeing.
There you go, he was hit with a rubber bullet. The police are using rubber bullets, which I guess you want to be lucky, you know what I mean? You're calling social disturbance, you're smashing windows of people's businesses, you're causing other people's life to be put into ruins. You know, in a place where the cops can use guns, and we've already seen that they're a bit over the top. And yeah, it's a bubbling pot for disaster.
We've now stopped moving. We've now got about 2 blocks, which is clear.
We've now got 2 blocks from the White House, which is obviously a good distance for them to be protesting at. As where before, they were only a block away. So let's jump and find out. She's doing an interview now, so let's find out what one of the interviews say.
Here today. Why are you part of this?
I came here to protest against the senseless killing of Mr. Floyd and
That's fair. It was a senseless killing. I totally agree.
countless others in America and just throughout history of the United States. So that's why we're here. We're just trying to peacefully protest and let the whole country know in the world that what's going on here is wrong. And this should be fixed immediately.
You know, like, this is good. This is everything he said is positive, is great, but it's not quite correct in that everybody behind is holding a black sign, like Black Justice, you know what I mean? And that why he, you know, I bet you any money he's not there to protest the majority white killings that happened in America by police last year. I bet he's not there to protest them.
It's such an important message, and the march was so beautiful and peaceful for so long. Outside the White House, things got a little bit heated. Then we moved away from the White House. Now, what has just happened here? It has turned ugly. How does that make you feel when you've come with such an important message to get across?
It makes me feel terrible. Like, to be a U.S. citizen, like, this is just disrespectful. Like, it makes it hard for me to say that I'm in front of the United States. Like, it just puts such a bad vibe and bad energy in my heart.
Why? I don't understand that. Is he not proud to be from the United States because a cop did bad policing, or is he not proud to be from the United States because he's in amongst rioters causing uproar to innocent civilians? Like, which one?
Knowing that I was born and raised in Virginia, and
Yeah.
it just hurts for me to say that I'm a U.S. citizen, because with stuff like this,
Why?
peacefully protesting at the White House, yeah, we were shaking maybe the fence a little bit.
Oh, there you go. We were peacefully protesting at the White House. We were shaking the fence a little bit. Like, if you had some motherfucker outside your house peacefully protesting, you wouldn't expect them to shake shit. Shh. Peaceful.
There's a little anger, of course, but no one did anything. They're shooting us with pellets, and then when we leave...
No one did anything. You just said you shook the fence. Don't shake my fence. I won't shake your fence, you...
Peacefully, we didn't have to leave the White House. We left, come on the street, and they start throwing, like, bombs type things to disperse us.
Yeah, get off my lawn.
And they're shooting from... A guy's jumping up there on the roof and shooting us from above. Like, it's crazy. Like...
Yeah, in response to the fact that the protesters / rioters threw tear gas towards the police fast. I'll put it in the video earlier. You'll have seen the clip earlier, hopefully, by this time.
Doesn't make any sense.
We witnessed a moment about an hour ago now. Down.
Oh, get down, get down, get down, get down, get down. What's happened? What's happened? This is quite good. This is where the drama kicks in. Ah, so a firework. The police don't fire fireworks. Did you hear that? A firework, he said.
That's all right. We witnessed about an hour ago a moment where one of the
Oh, a firework. So there's a protest. That was a protester firing fireworks into the police.
Secret Service...
Everyone's innocent, isn't they?
kneel in front of the White House. No one else in that line did. What would it have meant, or what would it have changed if that whole line of police that you were chanting, kneel for George, kneel with us, what would have changed had they done that?
First off, I didn't see the person kneel, but they did. That's kudos to them. That's real good. If everyone kneeled in that line...
Yeah, the protesters at the start, that nearer the middle, were kind of kneeling and saying, kneel for George, kneel for George.
But honestly, we feel like it would mean the world to us, honestly. Like, we've been asking them to kneel. I know a lot of them probably think what is going on is wrong. I know not everyone is racist in these cop and police agencies.
Oh, well, that's fair. That's fair. I agree with him. The majority aren't. Of course, there are gonna be. There are idiots.
And I know that a lot of them think what we're doing is correct. They're just following orders. So more people to start to be more individual in this and start coming together inside the system, they can help us outside.
I just want to ask you very quickly, because we are live on air in Australia, how does this end? What stops this? Because this is night after night now, it's the same pattern, and people are obviously not willing to peacefully protest and go home.
I think the only thing that stops this is when we get real reform from the government, local, county, state, national. We need complete...
Well, it looks like these protests are going on for fucking ages then, doesn't it? Because you can't just do reform overnight. Sadly, shit don't work like that. So I wanted to go on to another stupid incident which doesn't help anyone's cause. Anyone's cause whatsoever. Like right now in this current climate, like, don't be an idiot. And I think this is one of the most idiotic things I've seen during this. So basically, I'm sure you've just seen the title down below. This is George Floyd protests, New York police cars filmed driving into crowd. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? So let's jump in and take a look. So yeah, they surround it. Which again, like, to me, that's not a protest. Like, surrounding a cop car isn't a protest. I'm sure there's a law for it. I'm sure there's a proper name and something that could be put down to proper law. But for me, it's stopping, helping. That cop car could be going to a nan who's just fallen out of a tree or fallen down the stairs, or a granddad who's had a car crash, and you know what I mean? That might not be anything to do with this. Chances high that it is, and it's there to sort of disrupt all this, but you don't stop shit, you just disrupt shit. Bin bags, traffic cones, everything else thrown at it. But they make the worst decision now. These cops now make the worst decision. Bad policing. They just run forward. And then they speed up and run forward. Fucking terrible. Terrible. These cops need to be found. They genuinely need to be found. Like, honestly, they do. But this whole thing is a sad abuse of someone's human rights. Unfortunately, it's just not racist. It just isn't. I hope everybody out there is safe. I hope the people who decide to go and protest think about it long and hard, because I don't think there's anything to protest. I could be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. I'm willing for the hate. I'm willing for the abuse. But I just don't see what everybody else is seeming to see at the moment. I will leave a few links to some of the statistics I've been looking at. As you can see on the screen, I have some sort of all of the criminal facts based on sort of poverty and race, because all the arguments I keep getting are that black people are impoverished, they're, you know what I mean, they're out of jobs, and this is why the gang mentality's there. This is why 13% of the population commit 53 to 54% of the violent crimes. I keep hearing excuses for that and not reasons for it. So I will leave statistics that I think are there. Every single website that I've got popped on here. I'll make sure I get all the links to all the videos that we've checked out. Well, that's it from me. Different thing. Long video probably. Could be a short video. Could have been shit. Could have been bullshit. Probably didn't get across anything that I really wanted to get across, but I just wanted to take a little look at all of this and give my humble little opinion on it all. I hope whatever you're doing in this current pandemic, in this current time, that you're safe. Much love from me. Peace.